A year ago, I released a video advising older retirement eligible workers, especially men over the age of 55, to consider a quiet quitting strategy in their final year or final years before retirement. And now that I'm retired, a lot of people have asked me, would you still recommend quiet quitting?
Totally done.
The short answer, yes, absolutely. In fact, even more so now than ever. Hello, everyone. I'm Doug, and this is Dying to Retire. And before we start on why, I need to add one caveat. My advice last year was for people who work for the federal government, like I did, or who work for large companies. It does not apply to someone handing a family business down to a child, a prodigy, or a specific heir. If you remember, I released the original episode in July 2024, 3 months before my actual retirement date. Now, while I knew about retiring in place, quiet quitting was new to me. And honestly, as a pre retirement strategy, it made a lot of sense. And while I didn't initially set out to quietly quit back in October 23, my goal was simple: protect my sanity, protect my health, and survive that last stretch without burning myself out. Because when we finally have a moment to step back, we begin to see things a lot more clearly. Now, quiet quitting isn't about laziness. It's not about goofing off, and it's damn sure isn't about blue falconing your coworkers. It is often comes about due to the result of many, many years, sometimes decades, of giving 120% or more of yourself. Beyond the mentoring others outside of the regular work chain, beyond the covering for staff, senior staff, dealing with toxic bosses, supervisors, coworkers, staying late, or taking the holiday shifts so others could be with families. It's taking the hits, and there were a lot of them. It's the managing up and managing down through all this chaos. And you all know the drill I'm talking about. We rush to work, we race around while at work, and then we rush home. Wash, rinse, and repeat. We never really wind down. We're often always on. And when work called, no matter the hour, many of us went in. And what did that get many of us at the end of the day? Not much. And what I'm about to talk about is controversial, but it's well documented and it did happen. And I'm talking about DEI. DEI infected the majority of the federal government, like the Borg from Star Trek, assimilate or die. It did the same to much of the private workforce. And with it, goalposts were constantly moving, job expectations constantly shifted, promotion criteria shifted to a DEI corporate give back scheme over mission, merit, and competency. Many federal employees who wanted to do their jobs well but didn't actually want to support these DEI corporate give back schemes were often denied meaningful promotions and assignments. And as much as I want to say it was just a bad time to be an older white guy, the truth is far worse. This old organizational cultural behavior became play the game or the game plays you. And if you didn't want to play the game, well, a lot of people didn't, and they got screwed over by DEI. And it didn't matter, be they black, white, male, female, gay, or straight. And like them, many of us and myself, we said enough. I'm just doing my job and only my job, 100%, no more, no less. And when I implemented the quiet quitting strategy and set boundaries, something interesting happened. My stress levels dropped. I wasn't tied to emergency timelines. Someone just pulled out of their ass. Quiet quitting isn't about caring less. It is about protecting what we have left for ourselves, our families, for our own company, per se. In those words, your own company, our own company. That's the core about what I'm about to talk about next. For decades, 20, maybe 30 years, I often told people one simple truth: we are all our own company. You're John Doe Inc. I'm Douglas Inc. That never changes, not even in retirement. Your company includes more than just your job. It's your family, it's your health, it's your future, it's your values, it is your time. And when an opportunity comes along to help your company or protect it, you owe it to yourself to take it seriously. Your first responsibility isn't to me as a supervisor or to the company or agency you work for or the immediate office, though we talk about loyalty all the time. it is to your company. Did I get annoyed? Hell yes. Especially if someone left or took a job or took time off. We had gaps. Sure. Gaps in coverage. Sure. But the work always got done. It always got done. In that final year before retirement, I realized something. I needed to really, really follow my own advice. Quiet quitting wasn't about caring less. It never is. It's about managing Douglas Inc. It's about managing you Inc. with clarity and protecting the one employee you can't replace, me and you. This is the truth I taught others for years, and a truth I wish more people understood much earlier in their careers. But even with boundaries, there's still one thing almost every man faces as retirement gets closer. Even with boundaries, even with clarity, there's still one thing almost every man faces: FOMO, fear of missing out. And I don't care how tough you are, FOMO hits all of us. It's that little voice inside your head constantly saying, what if that long delayed promotion finally comes through? What if that dream assignment lands just as I walk out? What if staying one more year bumps up the amount I get in my retirement? What if everything finally pays off this year? But here's the reality check that cut through the noise for me. I could dream about a promotion, but the folks who rode the DEI and corporate give back wave, they're now in the senior positions in charge of everything, include promotions and assignments. They're not going anywhere. Executive orders come and go. Culture takes a half a generation to a full generation to even have a good change. And that's only if the next administration sticks to what the previous one started. Even if I had been promoted in late 2024, I would have needed 3 years in grade to have any positive effect towards my pension. And Congress changed that to 2025 to be 5 years with no grandfather. Suddenly, that what ifs meant nothing. Quiet quitting gave me the clarity to evaluate those whispers, that little voice in my head, honestly. But the biggest test, the biggest coulda, shoulda, woulda, actually came after I retired. Here is what none of us predicted. And honestly, I don't think anyone expected the federal government to do this, at least not the new administration. When the new administration came in, they offered early retirement and separation incentives to anyone eligible or anyone who wanted simply out. A full separation incentive. You could submit retirement or separation papers and still get paid through the end of the fiscal year. And for this, it was fiscal year 2025. And the kicker, once you submitted the paperwork, you didn't have to come back to work until that last day or last days in September 2025. Now, that's what I know, and I'm not exactly sure is that how it played out because I can't say I wasn't there because I was already gone by then. But here's the bottom line. I'd already moved on. My decision had been made long before those incentives existed. And if you or I spent too much time doing the coulda, woulda, shoulda in our headspace, it would poison our mind, especially near or after, immediately after our retiring. And at some point, you got to stop the what if game and focus on what actually matters. Because in the long run, what matters most was what that strategy made possible. We men, and unfortunately our spouses, tend to obsess over what we didn't do. We didn't start Spanish classes. We didn't lose the 20 pounds we said we were going to do. We didn't finish this or that project. But we rarely take the step back to look at the aggregate of what we did accomplish once work, our regular work, stopped consuming our time. And here's the truth. If I had stayed working, fell victim to FOMO, and pushed everything out another year, none of this I would have been able to accomplish this year. The multiple trips to Guatemala, sitting my residency application, which was accepted, the house hunting trips I did around Antigua, helping out my in-laws here, growing this channel, organizing my garage. That's a big one for me. All the work I'm doing to build the next chapter of life for my wife and I as slow travelers and partial expats, however you want to call it. Quiet quitting didn't magically make retirement easier, and that was not its intent. It's a pre retirement strategy that ensures when you walk out those doors for that last time, you still have gas in the tank for what comes next. Which brings us full circle back to the question everyone kept asking. After everything we walked through today, the burnout, the boundaries, the cultural shifts, you Inc., FOMO, clarity of hindsight, here's what I can tell you without zero hesitation. My original advice still stands. It's even stronger today than it was then. Quiet quitting isn't a shortcut. It's not a loophole. It's not laziness. It's strategy. Corporate politics come and go. Leaders change. Slogans change. Priorities get rebranded. But culture, especially a broken one, doesn't fix itself overnight or in a year or sometimes even a decade. And many of you don't have 10 years left to wait it out. Quitting in your final stretch is a smart move. It protects your time, your energy, and your pension. My job is to protect Douglas Link. And your job is to protect you, Inc., especially as you move into retirement, because no one else will. I'd love to hear your stories and experiences in the comments below. I read every one. If you found value in this episode, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe. As always, I am Doug. This is Dying to Retire, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Totally junk.